Hey everybody, this is Ray from PandaCanDo.com, and I want to show you some of the gear we're carrying now. These are our Panda tins here. This is a 1/4 ounce tin, or a 1/2 ounce. This is the 1 ounce tin, 2 ounce tin, and this is our 4 ounce tin. We sell all these tins individually or as part of kits. Also do candles in the 1/2 ounce, 1 ounce, and 2 ounce version. We'll eventually be doing the 4 ounce ones, but that uses a lot of wax, so that'll be a future project. We sell bobbin kits where you get 3 survival bobbins, one with thread like this. So I don't have an example for you, but we also do one with fishing line, 10-pound test, and we do, or 12 I believe pound test, and we do one with 16 gauge pure copper wire for snare, and I'll show a picture of that. One of our favorites for everybody is the survival gear starter pack. This is you get 2 paper clips, you get 2 safety pins, one small and then a large one there with some thread wrapped around it. You get 2 sewing needles, 2 number 6 I believe fishing hooks, 2 shirt buttons, some fishing line, and again some that's 26 gauge I want to say pure copper wire for snares. And now, as part of that kit, that's part A of the kit, we now include part B of the kit, which you get just a basic, super basic med kit here, where you get BZK, antiseptic towelettes, an alcohol prep pad. These are really tiny pads. They only fold about only out once, so twice the size of this little square here. If that, it might only be one time, and they're very small, but they're good just for cleaning the wound. Just one quick swipe. These are are actually designed for doing injections, to sterilize before you inject. So they're not really good for cleaning your whole hand, but you can do one spot and you can clean your fingers with that. The BZKs are bigger. This is more of a towelette. This is folds out into a 5x7, and you can sterilize your whole hand with this and have plenty of moisture left over. This is a little triple antibiotic ointment, and I used to always carry one of the 9-gram, I believe they are, ones from Neosporin, but those are they actually end up being really big. You use the one little the one packet and you can just keep using it. And I've used the same packet for like a year long because it doesn't take very much Neosporin. So these are nice because they're while you get less, this is only a 5-gram packet, or 1/57 of an ounce. It's a lot flatter, easier to transport, and really will just have enough in it for one large wound or a couple little small cuts. But it's nice to have a couple of these individually wrapped instead of having one of the larger ones. Takes up more space, and you open it and you're not going to use all that. I also keep in there, those are all pretty inexpensive items. This one's a little bit more expensive. This is diphenhydramine, or Difen brand, and if you guys don't know, this stuff's great. This is the stuff you take as antihistamine if you have allergies, which is nice if somebody gets a bee sting or has an allergic reaction. You can have them chew these up and take it with some water, and that might save their life if their throat's starting to swell up and all that. thing a lot of people don't realize about Diafen, it's also the same over-the-counter sleeping pill. So it does make you drowsy, but that's a benefit if you want to get some sleep, you're out camping. So it's a sleeping pill. It's also, like I said, an antihistamine for allergies. And thirdly, it's a motion sickness pill. So you can take that if you're out at the sea and you're throwing up all over the place. I also throw in a Band-Aid there. I think you get 2 of these with that kit, which is not it's not a real expensive medical kit, but that's why it's called a starter pack. It's just bare basics, and the main thing again is these. This is how it started, with side A, and the medical just became side B, so that people would have something to throw in an Altoid tin or whatever little kit that's super small, compact, and these actually come in really handy. I've been out and I've sewed buttons back on my shirts and fixed little backpack straps, and if you needed to, you could fish. And paper clips come in handy for a lot of different little things. Copper wire, I've actually you can use that for electronic purposes, like wiring your car. Little fixes. I mean, it's thin, so you have to double it over if you're hooking up to 12 volts, so it doesn't get too hot. Although if you want to start a fire, you can, and you have a battery, you can actually use copper just to get the heat off of it because of the small gauge. But it's good for other things, like this is not recommended, but you can, if you only have one battery, one AA, for example, in an item that takes 2 AAs, I've taken either paper clips or copper wire before and bridge the gap between the second terminal. That's definitely going to void your warranty, but if you really have to, it works. It does get hot again, so it'll melt the plastic and cause damage. Not recommended, but if in an emergency, you can get away with it. Some other things we do is we do some of these. This is a heavy-duty needle kit, sail needles. I believe this one they call the sail needle. It's got that edge to it. Different companies will classify a different needle as a sail needle. The idea there is it's got a lot of strength to it. You can push really hard on that point. It's got a big eyelet on it, and you can see that's a good sized needle. This one's a blunt needle, blunt tip. Some people call these darning needles. You can darn your socks with them. You know, it'll go through your socks, especially wool socks, without jabbing holes. It'll go right in between the knit and let you fix up the sock, do patchwork, but they're also really handy for other things. This is a small needle. I don't think it'll focus there, but it's a smaller one. This is a sharp, straight point. Nothing special to it. It's just durable, big eyelet. This is another thing people call a sail needle. Again, I don't know if you're going to be able to. Let's see if I can get a background to that so it'll focus. It's not going to focus. I'll get a better camera in the future there, guys. But that's a, it's got a sort of a triangle tip to it. And the triangle gives it strength. A lot of people call that the sail needle. That's what I think of as a sail needle, as it has 3 sort of flat edges to the tip, which gives it strength. So when you push really hard on the back of it, it's not going to break it. You can use that for leather work and other such things. This is a larger thing, same thing, sail needle. Might be able to see it on this one a little bit better. So it's a bit of a flat edges there shining back at you as I rotate it. Really durable. This large one's the one I use the most. I use one of these to make my alcohol stoves. I'll take this and I'll set it down and I'll just tap on the back of this with something real light, and that'll make my my holes for my alcohol stoves. It dulls the tip, you know, eventually and flattens it out, but don't worry, I don't sell the ones that I destroy, so you get fresh, new, unused needles here. Here's some curved needles. These are great when sewing, because you can wrap this into your hand and just keep working it into circles around the edge of your fabric. These are also usually the kind of thing you would use for a suture needle. So if you need to do stitches, these are what you want. Curved, that is. Not necessarily, these aren't considered surgical grade. These are good stainless steel, but they're still good for that, an emergency, or stitching up anything else. And you get a large one, and you get a small one here. We carry a bunch of other medical kits. Most of them go into our 2-ounce tin here. And here's a quarter so you can get the idea of the size. It's about the height of a quarter on the side. And here's an example of one of these kits. This is one of the deluxe kits where you get the sail needles, you get a lot of medical stuff in there. And this one would come with a starter pack as well. Not counting the medical stuff, you get side A there with all the needles and sewing needles and stuff. And then you get this, which has a lot of the same side B medical stuff, has all of that plus extra stuff. It'll have Diamode, which is your diarrhea. That's a generic brand for diarrhea pills. Here's another kit. I took some of this stuff out of the pack here. That med kit so you can see. This is 3 of those BZK antiseptic towelettes. Here's some of those thinner, tiny little towelettes for, you know, shots for people that are diabetic or whatever. Here's some vitamin A and D ointment. They use this for diaper rash, for dry skin, chapped lips, lubricant, all that kind of stuff. Handy, but we're gonna switch away from this in the future because this is an example of one of these really big 9-gram or more pouches that gives you way more than you need. It takes up a lot of room in the kit. In the future we'll get some smaller ones and maybe made out of something else. This is mostly a petroleum base, but it's good for the time being and handy, so we put them in some of the kits because you gotta have something. Again, you get the triple antibiotic. Here's some besides your Difen and your Diamode, which is diarrhea, and that's your sleeping pill combo allergy one. There's also a Swift electrolyte. Probably switch to another brand in the future too, but these aren't too bad. These are it's potassium, magnesium, and calcium. And those are electrolytes along with you would need salt and some sugar, like a honey packet. I like honey because you can use it in wounds and you can use it on your lips if they're chapped, which is much better than using a petroleum. Petroleum can actually make you sick if your lips are so chapped they're actually bleeding, whereas honey won't. It'll heal and moisturize and all that. This is pretty good stuff to have on hand. Also include a lot of times a salt packet in some of these kits. So you can have your salt. You just need water, sugar, and then here's your electrolytes. Great if somebody has, if they've gotten seasick, motion sick, eaten something wrong, and they have diarrhea or vomiting. They lose a lot of fluids. They need to be drinking water along with electrolytes to rehydrate. Here's our gloves. These pooch out a lot. You can wrap them in other small kits. I'll put them in a small pouch and then wrap the pouch with thread so that it stays tight. It also makes it hard to get to, so for these big refill kits I just leave them like this, and you can pack them however you want. A lot of people would just take them out of here because it doesn't matter if they get wet too much, although they're hard to put on when they're wet. There's some aspirin, great for treating heart attacks, and if somebody has a critical fever, you can give them aspirin as a fever reducer. We'll have more drugs in the future and move away from the brand name into a generic. The packaging is a little better on the generics than these brand names. Are a little bit big and a lot of air in there. And they work just as good. Here's an example of some Band-Aids, and there's some moleskin, 2-inch by 2-inch moleskins, and there's 2 in there for blisters with an adhesive back you can stick on your heel. I also want to mention this is a thermometer that comes with it, and here I have another example of them. And these are just, they're paper thin, and inside there the thermometer itself is like a little piece of plastic. It's been cut out and has these little dots on it. These things are great. Love these things. A lot of people don't see the use, but a thermometer is great for telling if somebody has a critically low or high temperature from, you know, one thing or another. And if they're real high, over 100 degrees, or super low, then you need to get them to hospital, get them help, antibiotics, whatever. So these are nice, really cool. I'm really happy we have these. Usually just get one in a kit, but you can get more from me if you want. That's about it for the medical. For that kit, oh, here's some, this is a 12-ply gauze, they call this, and I put 4 of them in here. Again, a non-sterile, which is, you know, hospitals carry a lot of non-sterile stuff, you'd be surprised. And all that means is they didn't gas it or steam clean whatever the individual packaging and then seal it up like you'd get like aspirin and these other sterile things. But still good stuff. You wouldn't put it direct on the wound anyway. It's good for wrapping around the bandage to keep it on and to soak up extra blood, and nice because when you pull it off it doesn't tear so much scab material or bind up so much on you. So we put those in there. Probably get some other stuff in the future as well. Always looking for new products that are, you know, the best stuff we can get. This kit here, I want to talk about some more. Has the needles and everything, drugs, different things, and would come with 2 little gloves, latex gloves, tightly wrapped on the sides that take up about maybe that much space on each side, like that, make a little C shape, and that would go into one of these 4-ounce tins, and that cramps down in there, and you still got a little bit of room, and you can compact that more if you want, but that's we sell them with the tin, and they're handy. We also sell these little for the 2-ounce or 1-ounce, you can get them different for the 2 or the 1-ounce, but a 2-inch by 2-inch 3M diamond grade reflective tape, and it has an adhesive back, and it feels like a little piece of flexible plastic. Can't think of the name I'm looking for, but it's sort of flexible, but you wouldn't want to flex any more than that, and it would kind of tend to break on you. Good stuff. Sticky adhesive. You can stick it on the tin to reflect light. You see this on the sides of cars, stop signs, crosswalks and stuff. Your headlights hit it and it reflects a lot of light back at you, and at a really good angle. Even at the sides you'll see a lot of light reflected. The bicyclers and stuff wear this stuff on their clothes, but it's not the 3M diamond grade. It'll be the cloth variety, which isn't as reflective. Those are handy. I want to talk about the burner kit again that I mentioned earlier, which is a 2-ounce tin like this with holes poked in these rims. Put your alcohol fuel in there, denatured, and it comes with a 1-ounce candle, which you can use for simmering a little bit, for getting your fire started, that sort of stuff, for light, all that. Handy to have, but also to prime your alcohol, because your tin needs to be heated up quite a bit for the alcohol to prime. And usually what you would do is you would spray alcohol on the top here, light it, you know, it would burn off, that would heat up a little bit, you'd do it again and again and again, and eventually it primes. You end up usually wasting about an ounce or 2 of fuel, which is just what this holds, just trying to get it to prime. Different fuels are different, of course, depending on what kind of denatured fuel you're using. Some prime better, but the candle's great. You can put your alcohol in here, hold it over the candle flame, get this hot enough where it's about ready to prime, and you can usually hear it. You'll start hearing the gases pushing out. You know, blow out the candle, set this down, light that, boom, it lights up right away. You can actually over prime it sometimes where the flames start to dance up above it, but it'll usually cool down, or you blow it out, wait a couple seconds, light it again. Then you take the lid off the 1-ounce candle and set it in the little grooves up here, and that acts as your pot stand. And then you would take a 4-ounce tin, which comes with the kit that we sell, and you can buy a kit, either pre-poked holes, or you can just buy the tins and make your own kit, whatever you want. But we send you a 4-ounce tin. You set that on there. You can boil your water in there, you know, cook maybe 1 or 2 small eggs in there. 4 ounces. We're also going to be offering an 8-ounce soon. So that's handy. Good set. It all fits inside there. The 1 ounce would, when there's no fuel inside the 2 ounce, you put the 1 ounce candle inside of it, the 2 ounce inside of that, and the 4 ounce. The only thing that doesn't fit well inside are these little half ounces. Don't fit real well in the candles. They're a little bit taller than the other ones. They're not in proper proportions, so they don't fit in. You can fit them in a 2 ounce, in a 1 ounce tin or a 2 ounce tin, but because it sits higher, it'll bend your lid if you try and twist your lid down tight on it. So you can put it in there and tighten it down halfway if you want, but it doesn't work perfectly. Something like this. About the candles, these are 100% American sourced beeswax. Much better than the paraffin. Most candles you get are paraffin. I won't go into that too much, but beeswax, paraffin's a byproduct of the petroleum industry, and it doesn't work very well at all for candles, but they use it because it's cheap, and they also put it in your food and stuff for chocolates and things like that. But beeswax is much better. It burns hotter. It burns longer for the same amount, so it's much more efficient to have. Use a cotton wick. With paraffin candles, the regular candles you get, it burns so poorly that they have to run a piece of wire down the center of the wick. Used to be made of lead until that got banned, and now they use usually like a zinc or something. And the purpose of the metal is to produce, when the wick burns, to produce enough heat to cause the paraffin to melt and fume a little bit and be able to burn enough to keep burning. And they burn lousy. They won't pool well. You get a little circle in the center. That's the kind of wax you get that gets on your clothes, your bedding, whatever, and you can never get it out. This beeswax stuff isn't like that. It can be a little bit messy, but this stuff, you can get off of stuff pretty easy. Good stuff, smells good, burns longer, faster. Not faster, burns longer, hotter. Good stuff, doesn't put off any fumes. You could burn a candle like this indoors that was 50 pounds and heat your whole house with it if you really wanted to, and it wouldn't put off any carbon monoxide, sorry. Great stuff, made in the USA.